Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case. In the criminal case, no. Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent, and what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that, because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.
She did, and when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and force. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agrees.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes. As his lawyers argue, the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
This is going to be such a massive trial, like maybe the biggest Hollywood trial. God knows which way it's going to go. Is it going to go on for weeks? And
for sure, weeks.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York, ready to surrender to face these charges. But prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urge the judge to remand him.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
Isn't that, to my mind, that's one of the bigger hurdles in selecting a jury this coming week, is that there is, at least anecdotally, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity tapes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux or something.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars. A magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, my concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors.
What happens is if people go into a trial believing the firepower on the prosecution is so strong, I mean, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 95 that it's so strong, but it goes down to an 88, that helps the defense because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this and they're going to prove this and they're going to prove this. And all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
Back up a little bit, please. How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to exploit both women and men for decades.
It sounds like something out of a late-night comedy skit. Pop star Justin Bieber testifying in court against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. But this isn't a joke or a rumor. This is real life. And it's unfolding in a federal courtroom where the stakes are sky high. Imagine the scene. Reporters crowd outside, cameras flash nonstop, and everyone's watching as a black limousine pulls up. Out steps Justin Bieber, dressed sharply and walking with serious lawyers by his side. People hold their breath. They remember him as the kid who sang Baby Baby and shot to global fame. But this time, there's no music or stage, just a courtroom waiting behind a heavy wooden door. To understand how we got here, let's go back about 15 years. Diddy was hosting his famous all-white parties in the Hamptons. These weren't just parties. They were massive, celebrity-packed events where the champagne never stopped flowing. The guest list looked like award shows on steroids. Fast forward to now, and Diddy's situation couldn't be more different. He's in jail, denied bail, wearing a beige jumpsuit, sipping water in court while U.S. Marshals watch every door. The judge said no condition, not even a high bail amount or electronic monitor, and could guarantee he'd show up for trial. That has to sting for someone who spent his life building a public image of power and success. Prosecutors offered Diddy a deal: admit to some of the charges, take a shorter sentence, and avoid putting his loved ones through a tough trial. Diddy said no. He claims all the events being investigated involved consenting adults. Sources close to him say he wants to take a stand and fight back, believing the justice system is unfair to black businessmen like him. Is that brave or foolish? Legal experts are split. Juries sometimes expect dramatic stories in big cases. If the prosecution can't deliver something truly powerful, jurors might start doubting the whole case. Diddy's team is hoping that's exactly what happens. Now comes the plot twist. Justin Bieber. Yes, Bieber's name showed up on guest lists that were found during the investigation. These weren't just any parties. They were coded as VIP, Acoustic Afterglow, which is just a fancy way of saying private, secret celebrity events. Prosecutors say Bieber came forward voluntarily when he found out his name was on those lists. Diddy's lawyers want to see every message, every email, and every deal that might have encouraged Bieber to cooperate. Regardless of why he's involved, the image of Bieber, the clean-cut pop icon walking into court as a witness, has set the internet on fire. Why would he do this? Some insiders say it's a smart move. By stepping up now, Bieber might control how the story is told. It could help him avoid being seen as someone who ignored serious issues. Others believe he's just doing what he thinks is right. A few people, more skeptical, suggest it could help his public image, and even his streaming numbers. Whatever the reason, his decision is a big deal. People are calling him Belieber in the witness box. Those who've been in private meetings with Bieber say he remembered everything clearly, from who showed up and what time, to the music being played, even what scent was in the air. Lavender, in case you're curious. He described people giving up their phones, signing thick non-disclosure agreements, and being escorted past bodyguards who looked like they could lift a car. He didn't say he was mistreated himself, but the specific details he shared helped prosecutors paint a clearer picture of what those events were like. His memory helped fill in the blanks and turn documents and spreadsheets into scenes that jurors could actually imagine.
Running a criminal enterprise. They say that he forced his employees to both work long hours and participate in a trafficking scheme that took place over 2 decades, that he coerced women into sex, that he held these sex parties known as freak-offs and brought in prostitutes to participate in those parties. So he is facing a litany of charges in this case and ultimately could spend his life in prison if found guilty.
Think about it. A world-famous singer describing a party that suddenly changed from relaxed to tense after certain people showed up. Would you believe him if you were on the jury, or would you think he's just trying to protect himself? That question is at the center of this entire case. Prosecutors are planning to call Bieber as a witness halfway through the trial. That's a smart move. It keeps the jury interested after some of the drier parts of the case and sets the stage for more emotional testimony from alleged victims. They believe Bieber's presence will help jurors visualize those secretive parties more vividly than any floor plan or document ever could. Meanwhile, Diddy's lawyers are getting ready to challenge Bieber's story. They've studied his past appearances at those events and say he only went to a few. They plan to argue that using phone bans and privacy contracts is normal in the entertainment world. From tech billionaires' parties to charity balls and fashion events, those rules are pretty common. So if those details alone are used to suggest something illegal, then a lot of Hollywood would be in trouble. Still, Bieber's testimony is already sending shockwaves through the industry. Big brands are quietly planning for possible fallout. Some are preparing social media statements just in case Justice for Justin starts trending. Streaming services are thinking about quietly removing Diddy's music from playlists, while adding more Bieber songs for comfort listening. Fashion brands connected to Diddy are cropping him out of ads or using abstract images instead. Fans are split. Some praise Bieber for doing what they believe is the right thing. Others feel betrayed, calling him disloyal. The same people who once sang along to his love songs are now debating his morals on social media. Inside the courthouse, it's like preparing for a music festival. There are color-coded badges, special ride-share zones, and overflow rooms with big screens. Mental health staff are on site because disappointed fans who can't get inside might not take it well. If you think that sounds extreme, just remember, Bieber once made headlines because his puppy trended on Twitter. Now imagine that level of frenzy multiplied by a major court case. When the trial begins, Diddy will trade his jail outfit for a suit, but the handcuffs will still be there. Jury selection is expected to finish in just 3 days. Fast for a case this big, and suspiciously fast, according to some legal blogs. But all eyes are on one moment, when Justin Bieber walks up, raises his right hand, and swears to tell the truth. The courtroom will hold its breath. Cameras will catch every second. Diddy's face will be serious. His lawyers will be ready to pounce on anything Bieber says that sounds unsure. If Bieber helps the prosecutors prove that Diddy controlled those private events too closely, it could destroy Diddy's reputation completely. But if Bieber's story doesn't hold up under cross-examination, it could weaken the entire case. Whatever happens, this trial could reshape the legacies of two major music stars and give gossip writers enough material to last for years. So, the big question remains, will Justin Bieber's moment on the witness stand tip the scales of justice? Or will Diddy's defense team spin the story into another comeback anthem? Whose side are you on? Team Bieber or Team Diddy?